Good evening. Welcome to Soul Talk Tuesday. I'm Ariana Platten, your host. I am thrilled to have you here on our inaugural show. This is our very first time doing this, and I'm really excited about it. Really excited to visit with my guest tonight, Julie Woods. But I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing here. So the purpose of this show is to go deep. Meaning we're going to dive right in. We're not going to do all the nicey-nicey. We're not going to spend a lot of time explaining things. We're going to go right into serious stuff. And we're going to spend about an hour to an hour and a half together talking about some of the most important things in life. Soul talk, right? So we'll talk about the intimate. We'll talk about the ultimate. How do we connect with one another? And what is it that we're going to do to connect to something holy? Whatever that is for you. And that could be lots of different things. You may have lots of different expressions around what the holy is for you. So I'm glad you're here. My guest tonight is been featured in Forbes magazine. She has worked for the Pentagon. She sang with Roberta Flack. She has run her own nonprofit, Dance with Cans, and fed 170,000 families so far. She is a business advisor and, to be completely transparent, one of my dearest, closest friends. And that's another cool thing about what we're doing here. I am realizing that I know a lot of really interesting people. So I want to introduce them to you. So this is my friend JWow, and I know her as Jules or Julie Woods. JWow stands for Julie Woods, one word. That's how we got to JWow. Julie Woods, one word, is JWow. And I have known Julie for a long time.
20 years, 20 years.
22.
20 years. No, it's actually 20 because I started with let's see, I went to my first thing where I met you and Mark. I think that was in 2000.
Well, there you go. That would be
Yeah,
20 years. That's an amazing thing. We've
yeah.
lots of under this bridge. So we're going to pretend that nobody else is here right now. But as we're pretending that, if you want to put something in the chat box, go ahead. We're going to pretend it's just you and me, because we don't have to. We have been through lots of conversation, Julie, lots and lots and lots of different kinds of conversation. And I want to dive right into why I asked you to be here tonight. And that is because your life story is very interesting. You are a person who has multiple personalities in one body.
That's correct.
And all of those things, you've been the featuring in Forbes and the working at the Pentagon and the nonprofit work and all of that stuff, none of that has had anything to do with that circumstance in your life. That has been, all of those things that you have done have been your ability to function perfectly, beautifully in the day-to-day world that we all share. And that's pretty amazing. So
Thank you.
if you could take a minute and tell us a little bit about the personalities and what it is to have many souls in one body.
I'm going to, first of all, thank you for that introduction. And I love you like air. So we're going to start there. I love you so much. I love you so much. Okay, so that's one thing. That's part of the diving deep, is being real about the love all the time. So for me, I would say two things, because I'm a word person, which is kind of like saying that my skin is beige. I love words and precision and depth and robustness. And the psychological world has said that these are personalities as if they are some slivers of some simple thing which has diverged from a central thing. You and I both know that these are 24 separate souls in my body that have their own past lives, they have their own voices, they have their own characteristics. Juju is left-handed, I am right-handed. they have their own realities. My 250-pound wolf, in case you guys don't know this, carbon monoxide does have a smell to animals, and my 250-pound wolf saved us from dying about 4 years ago because he could smell the carbon monoxide and I could not. I almost went to bed and they came forward and kept me from sleeping. Penny was already so groggy that I had to throw her halfway out the window to wake her up. And so it is um, it is a fascinating thing to be this and manage it. And the one thing that I would shift is to say that out of what you said, is that all of the things that I have done because I was willing to be authentic and transparent about what I am. The Pentagon knew that I was a multiple and hired me. 3Com, when I finished my 4.5 hour interview, the woman who hired me for 2 different positions, because there's more than one of us in here, she hired 2 different personalities separately and said, let me get this straight. I send you one big check, it's $250,000. I send you one big check and I get 24 of you. I said, yes. She said, can you start on Monday? So I've done this out of being transparent and proud of the fact that I am the cheapest focus group in the world. Okay. Instead of paying 10 people a whole bunch of big checks, you can pay me one very large check that's still less than that and get not only a bunch of different people, a bunch of people who are psychically connected. It's just not going to get any better than that. Okay. There's a phrase here, just want to say right quick. Behavior that's rewarded persists. Behavior that's cherished innovates. Behavior that's celebrated evolves. And let's face it, evolution is just a bunch of innovations having a rave in the culture's sub-basement. And the other thing about, right, isn't that fun? And then the other, you said dive deep first. I'm usually nicer to people before we start. You're the one who called this.
That's correct.
Darling.
Go
okay. On. All right. Thank you very much. So here's the thing about innovation. Innovation, just like they talk about death by 1,000 cuts, which if you don't know what that is, it's a bunch of paper cuts and you bleed out. It's a terrible thing. And it's considered to be a torture. There's life by 1,000 innovations. And when you define innovation as going to the edge of your isness and then stepping into your notness and then not dying, you have just innovated. You've just done something that's never been done before, because if it's your notness, then it's the realm that you've never been in before. And if you don't die while you're in it, then you've just got a brand new isness and you have innovated. Okay, so
Stop.
Go.
Breathe.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes.
And I want you, because where you're going, we'll get to. I want folks to understand what they don't know yet about who you are. And I want it to come from you. I really want to hear about, because it wasn't always easy. Having 24 different personalities has not always been easy. And we started by talking about how well you functioned in many different kinds of environments and how many great things you've done in the world. And you are a remarkable, amazing soul. And it hasn't always been so easy. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Okay, great. Yes, and that was wonderful. And please keep me on track and in small bites. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So 1981, this little 5.5-year-old was suddenly talking and I was fading into the background. And I was coming off of being in suicide lockdown. And so I thought it's just that I was completely crazy. Well, because I was completely crazy. And so it's funny, you think that. And then I realized that she was really cool. And she had her own everything. My body was different. My heart rate was different. We've studied this over the years. So that was 1981. Then these really wild things started happening where I realized that there were animals and there were these characteristics of the animals. I'm unusual as a multiple in that I do have animals. Most people have just, I won't say just, they have different humans. I also have animals. I'm also working across, for those of you who believe this, great. For those of you who don't, great. I'm working across multiple dimensions, which is why I have humans and animals and all of these different beings in me. They're beings in me. One of them, Lone Zone Wolf, who is a wolf shaman, says that the name for me, Julie out front, is the one who holds us all. She is the many, we are the one. Okay. It has not always been easy and it has not always been hard. There are parts of me that have been terrifying. Some of those terrifying beings have saved my life. They have kept people from shooting me in the head. They have kept people from beating me in the head with a baseball bat, because I have this tendency to go into alleyways because God would show me someone who was going to commit suicide, and it became my job to keep them from doing that. I have always been a special kind of different. And so I thought that was diplomatic. That was pretty diplomatic, wasn't it?
I think you're beautiful, kind of different.
I love you so very much, and I know you mean that, and I will take it in to the best of my ability, and you know that I choke on that stuff. And thank you. The hard things, the hard part is knowing things about people that they don't know yet. That's the hard part, and being right 99.99% of the time. That's hard because I'm very smart. I believe the kids in my neighborhood, the black kids, the kids in my neighborhood stoned me to try and kill me multiple times. And then I just stopped giving them the opportunity to do that because I refused to die. I also believe that that was spirit preparing me for now, because all of this has added up. When Penny and I got together in 1991, there were 8 of us. In 2000, I split to 24 in a year because I finally found a tribe of spiritual people who were like, honey, that ain't nuts. Wait till some god or goddess rides you, and the next thing you know, you speaking in tongues you don't know, except there are other people who speak that language. Like, when did you learn that? It's like, I didn't learn it. I'm speaking according to some god or goddess. So we're fine. You're good. And I'm like, really? In fact, we think you're a shaman. I don't know nothing about being no shaman. Okay, that was the running joke in Vegas. All right. Getting to the point, the thing that has saved me, I believe, from being in a room with a lock outside the door and one of those fashionable jackets that buttons up the back with a shunt in my arm so he can feed me medication 10 times a day. The thing that's kept me out is being grateful for the opportunity to hear God. And then do something about it. Okay? Because it's the do something about it part that makes it okay. The sitting around putting up sad emojis part is not the way that I am built. And Spirit has been really clear about how I've been built and how we are supposed to work together. I may not always walk my talk, at a minimum, I will stumble my mumble. So that keeps me in this sort of ramshackle. Have you ever seen the movie All of Me? Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin. Okay, that magnificent scene where Steve Martin is trying to walk with Lily Tomlin's legs. Okay, that's sort of me in my life. It's like, and now the 5.5-year-old is going to take a step on the right, and now the wolf will take a step on the left, and oh, here comes the golden retriever. Okay, and now it's a 19-year-old, and that's me walking through life. I figured out that if I would find a group of people who didn't hate me for being smart and who would be nice to me if I shared the things that I saw that helped their lives get better, then I could be whatever I wanted. And that's when it got easy. Oh, wait a minute. I'm talking to one of them.
So
Okay.
it got easier.
It got easier. It's, Ariana, I know that I'm supposed to be having a hard time according to the world. I'm like, I really am. I'm really, really, I'm having a hot flash. I'm really, really not. I'm having a fascinating time. I'm having, I fascinate me. Now, some of that is just my ego, okay? And I'm having a fascinating time. And at the same time, I look at most people and go, wow, what's that like? I mean, it's just like you in there. And that's all you've got. Wow. I, gosh. Okay, it's like our
All of a sudden, I'm here feeling bad for me, Julie.
you need to. You need to. I am a walking party. Okay? I'm partying like it's 1999, 24/7. Cassandra, our oldest granddaughter, when she because it's Penny and Ray and me. It's the three of us. And so our oldest granddaughter, she was really little. She went to her first play party. And she came home and her mom said, "So how was it?" She said, "Well, it was very nice. Except, well, they had a grandma and a grandpa, but they did not have a Julie." Okay. And that's kind of how I feel about the world. It's like, wow, you've got a you. That's it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
out, let's talk about how you work together as a team. So you and I have had a lot of conversation around the difference between understanding yourself in classic psychological terms
Yes.
as one personality split into 24 parts, or understanding that in your case, you came in willing to and have grown in inhabitants over the years. And so it's a very different thing that you're experiencing. This is not a fracturing of one personality. It is a group of personalities living in one body. How do you manage it?
Beings.
Beings,
It's a group of beings. Okay.
good.
So,
So
what,
you manage it.
yeah. All right. So, what Miss Humble over here won't say is that she's, yeah, I just called you that. Is that she's a huge part of how I do things differently. Most people talk about integrating, and instead I'm unified. Integration and unification are not the same thing. Integration is where everything flows together. Think of the difference between soup, puree, and stew. I am more stew, and that's how we work together. So unification was the word that Ariana channeled, and my world just settled because it meant that whoever comes in gets to be part of a group that is highly collaborative. It's easy to be collaborative when you all know what the others are thinking because you're all in one body. Trust me on this. Okay. And I've also worked in a room full of telepaths, and it feels pretty much the same way. Okay. So think of it that way. Um, we do not all get along all the time. It gets interesting when there are fights. That's the shadow side of it. On the shine side of it, I can take a bet with myself and always win. Do the math. Okay. And so there's there's consensus about the fundamental things. Nobody does anything that has us get put in jail because I have a highly violent temper. If you hurt children or animals, I am vengeance. I really truly mean that. Okay, so let's not have that happen, right? I manage all this, and in case you think that that's just some sort of metaphor, I have a second, for those of you in the military, I have a secondary honorable discharge from the military. You have a primary, the country's burning down, they will call you back into service. If you have a secondary, if the country's burning down, they won't call you back into service because you are a threat to the American military. If I get really angry because there is so much power with everybody in here, my brain scrambles other people's brains. That is proven by the military. So I don't get angry. And I have to manage that. Blessedly, there are 23 other folks in here who help me manage that so I don't have to do it by myself. I'm telling you, it rocks. Okay, and that's what I mean by collaboration. I actually multitask. You see this? Those boards? There are 14 other boards and about to be another 10 after that are books and courses. And all of this is getting managed and held at the same time in here. Because we all work together. I didn't call it collaboration, and I realized it was because if I have to collaborate with things outside of my mythopoetic meat sack, it's work. I'm collaborating 24/7 in here. You try having 24 people up in your house 24/7, and they're never ever going to go away, and there's no place to go, and tell me that you wouldn't get tired of it. Okay, now, I haven't been watching all of you because I've just been talking with Ariana, and yet I do want to speak with all of you in this moment. And so it goes like this. I am a Southern-based Black woman, and so if you understand the things that I'm saying, would you please raise your hippie hands like this, and that way I can see you. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Because I can't hear your amen. Okay, I'm not seeing everybody do it, so wait a minute. Did everybody get it? We almost have everybody. Jamie Finn, there we go. Okay, I feel better. Now, there's a thing called SAS, Shadow and Shine Sphere. I'm going to get very real here. This is a lot of work. I have friends. Ariana will call me and say, how's Juju doing with all of what you're doing? Here's a beautiful thing about that. I'm a model for how we get to take care of each other across the whole planet. The way that people take care of us is the way that we get to take care of each other. That's the thing that I want to see that you guys get. Can you hear that? I need hippie hands. Okay.
So
go ahead.
talk about Juju for a minute. Just talk.
Can she just come out and talk to you? Would that be easier?
That would be great. I'd love to talk to Juju.
Okay. Well, so many people. Wait, I gotta change that thing. Wait. Okay.
Hi, sweetheart.
Not so many people. There's a lot of people here.
I know. But they're all really nice and they're all friends of mine. Nothing to worry about.
These are very nice peoples.
They're very nice.
Hi, nice peoples. Wait, I will look at the thing. Did they wave at me?
See, they did.
Okay. Hi, nice peoples.
How are you, sweetheart? I haven't talked to you.
I'm good. Oh. Julie, she doing so many JWow. She doing many things. She gonna help the mommies and the daddies that are the white ones, tell the white child how to make all the bad systems stop. And then we're gonna give masks so that folks like LJ, and folks that sing, they could sing, and folks like LJ, they don't have a hard time. And we doing it good.
Yeah,
you doing it good?
Been really good, sweetie. I'm doing really, really good.
How is the pig farmer?
The pig farmer is Mark, and the pig farmer is doing great.
Okay.
I'm sorry he's not here to say hello to you.
Yeah, just hug a pig farmer and give him kisses, okay?
I will, and we'll call you later so you can talk to him.
Okay.
Okay? And he wants to talk to you too.
Okay. Did you want me to say something to the nice peoples about something?
Yeah, so tell me, I'd like for you to tell these people how old you are.
I'm 5.5.
Yeah. And I'd like, like you to tell them what is most important about the work that you do. What is it that you do in the world?
Um, I play with Dancer Bear and Penny,
Yeah.
and I love you.
I love you too. I love you too. And that is exactly the answer I was expecting you to give.
Oh,
Your work, right? Love everybody, laugh, play.
I do not love everybody. Some people's is mean.
Oh, what kind of people do you not love?
The ones they mean to folks that did not do nothing wrong.
Hmm.
They just mean because they mean. I do not love them. I wish they would stop, and I wish that they would. I sorry they got hurt, and so they hurt everybody else. I don't got to love them. Julie said I don't got to love them. I could help them if I could help them, and if I can't help them, I don't got to stay. That's what she said.
She's exactly right, sweetheart. She's exactly right.
Okay,
Yeah. I love you very much.
I love you too. Do I could go now, right?
Yeah. We'll
Okay. I'm
hang
going to say bye to the nice peoples. That was fun. Wait. Okay, hold on. Bye, nice peoples. Okay. Okay. Hi, Solomon. Hi. Okay. I got to see this anybody. Bye, Lena. Oh, is and the medicine bear is right there, Penny. Is medicine bear right there? No, not medicine. The Lena's medicine bear. Did you see that? Anywhere in the thing. Linda, she makes medicine bears behind the thing, behind the curtain, the other curtain. We got to wait 1 minute. No, this is not none of them. We can't find them, Linda. We will find them. Okay. Any old way. So yeah. So we're gonna go. Thank you very much for coming, everybody, to Ariana's party. Okay. We're gonna go now. Bye. Okay. Bye, nice peoples. These are very nice peoples, Ariana. Okay. Hold on. No, I'm not supposed to hit the leave-in buttons. I just me going in. Okay, wait. Leave it bye. Yeah, there's that.
Thanks, sweetie.
Yeah, you're welcome. She's getting, see how good she is about in and out? That was not always easy, you
Oh,
know?
no,
Yeah.
really brave. Really, really brave. So tell us about um, some of the things that you're doing as you move out. Juju told us a little bit. I know you have a big event coming up, so I want to not
Yes, I do.
get too far
Okay,
away.
I would love to know how she put that. Okay.
Later.
Okay, yeah, all right. Because her characterizations of what I do and what I think I do very often are not the same thing. Okay, so one of the things that I'm doing is tomorrow I start a class. It's called Ending Racism, a conversation for white parents of white children. Because out of precision of language, will never be an anti-racist, because if you're an anti-racist, you're somebody who's a revolutionary revolving around the very thing against which you're rebelling, and so there just needs to be more racism for you to be an anti-thing of. And I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in ending racism. I would very much like for it to them to stop killing black people for entertainment, because that's pretty much what we have that the news is doing. And let me be real about something. I'm about to say something. One of the biggest things that I'm about to do is going to be really hard for a bunch of people. I'm about to start saying that Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, because I'm stealing back the All Lives Matter. They have turned All Lives Matter into something that's supposed to be a bad thing, because a bunch of racists said all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter, as if it has to be one or the other. You know, I live in and. And the instant I say and, I get to have any racist who looks at me and says, well, all lives matter. I'm like, you're absolutely right. And watch them be shocked, because I've done this, and they're shocked. And I'm like, it's just really simple. All lives matter. And Black people are the ones who are being hunted and killed in the streets. And so we're going to start with Black lives, because we want to be efficient about taking all the isms that create schisms and ending them. So Black Lives Matter and all lives matter. Would you like to come on board? It's going to drive people nuts. Can't wait. That's some of the biggest work that I'm doing, is to make it so that everybody gets to be on an equal playing field. Because in here, I know what it's like for everyone to not be on an equal playing field.
So
And I don't want that for the world.
talk about that for a minute, about
Okay.
everybody not being on an equal playing field.
Yeah. First of all, just to settle things, everyone's not special, because by definition, special means that you're not everybody. Okay, so I want to start there with that understanding. In my world, and yes, I have my own planet, the shine side of the thing is when it feels good to do good, you do more good. And the other side of that is if you choose to do bad, there are repercussions and you will be held accountable. And that is true inside me as well as outside me. And so not everybody has gotten to play, because ellipsis, secondary honorable discharge from the military. There's a part of me that at one point in my life, up until probably about 4 years ago, people would say, is there something scary in you that I should be scared of? I'm like, if you do wrong, yes. Like, terrified. Don't do wrong. Just that. And so I work to speak truths out of the nightmares of my life. I have composted those nightmares into nourishment for the world. And so the folks inside who were not at first willing to help me do that didn't get airtime. It was real simple. Do right, airtime. Do wrong, no airtime. If we were to do that in the world, things be real different. What was that, Australia? That man did the mass shooting like he did here in America. And was Australia was with the female president who said, great, nobody says his name, no airtime about it, nothing. You do wrong like that, you don't get any airtime, you don't get to be famous. They didn't have another shooting after that. See, here, New Zealand, okay, great. We reward people for doing wrong. They get famous, and we've been taught to crave fame. Inside of me, I get to run the world the way that I want it inside of me. Nobody can tell me anything about what to do with my insides, not the entire psychological community, until the end of time. I am not on medication. I manage this just fine. I have had shrinks who looked at me and said, I really ought to put you on medication. You really are multiple. It's just that you're saner than most of my clients. Because I stand for things, and I will not budge if it's a good or right thing. Now, I have backup. You can knock me on my knees. I got 23 others that you're going to have to knock down. And trust me, if you are by yourself, I will wear you out.
So I've seen that.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Okay, we resolved this for when Now let's talk to another one. I've seen that. And I know that there is a way that this works for you. There is because we worked on that way together. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Unification table. Hashtag I love you till the end of time. Thank you so much, Ariana Platten. Right? I believe in the power of healthy ego over territoriality. Got that? Great. So, what I've done is I've made it safe for folks to be collaborative with all of their talents, shadow and shine, and find contexts where they get to do well with what they do. Now, what I mean by that, if you've ever seen the Lethal Weapon, the first Lethal Weapon, there's this amazing scene where Danny Glover is standing here, there's the car, and Mel Gibson, and he's almost in tears, and he said, I'm one of the only people on the planet that can put a bullet in a man's head from a mile away. What do you do for a living when what you're good at is killing people and you don't want to hurt people?
Good question.
So we went through a couple VHS tapes of that because I wore that scene out until the tape broke. Just that. What do you do to do right in the world when you're suicidal, you hate yourself, and your brains scramble other people's brains? It's a question that most of you, I hope, never have to ask. I did every morning of my life. So the way that I've managed, there's internal locus of control and external locus of control, and this is critical. Internal locus of control, many people, who adult really well, like you and Penny and Mark, okay? You have an internal locus of control. Your compass inside says, yep, this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it, okay, and I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. External locus of control, you have someone who will tell you what is the right thing to do. Now, I'm very smart. So I figured out if I can come up with the right thing to do, find really nice people, really smart people that I respect, and tell them, I really want to do this thing and I won't listen to me. So if I tell you to tell me, then I will do the thing, and then I'll forget that I told you the thing, and then you tell me the thing, and then you get to act as if I didn't tell you, and then I will do the thing, and you can tell me later that I told you to do the thing. If we do that, can that work? And y'all went, sure. I was like, great. I would really like to be this. And you'd say, okay, time comes. Here's a moment. Tell me what to do. I do the thing. I think you're brilliant. You are brilliant because you pulled it off. And then I get to be the being that I am not. I get to live into it. That's how you feed 170,000 families in 4 states before you become a nonprofit. I hated when people say, you can't do anything in the world till you love yourself first. That's not true. I hated myself and was suicidal every moment of that. It's just that I did something instead of reveling in the suicide and the depression and all of that. I'm like, well, I'll feel better if I just help people. So I'm going to go help people and just be miserable while I do it. And if people are having a hard enough time, they don't care that I'm miserable as long as they get to eat. Okay, that'll work. So I just find some people who are desperate enough to eat, need to eat, and then I can be miserable and suicidal, and they get to eat, and everything will work until I feel better.
Okay, I'm going to roll you back.
Mm-hmm.
Patient table, because I really want you to answer how you get 24 different souls on board, because there's a lot of you in there. There is a cyber specialist in there. There is a wolf in there. There is a sweet old man in there. There is a nonverbal infant in there. I mean, there are a lot of you. How do you do it?
I have phenomenal negotiation skill. And I was given a cheat early on before I split, who we now know to be LJ, my 8-year-old autistic savant. When the kids in the neighborhood were stoning me to try and kill me, I figured out that there were people who everybody liked. And so what I did was I created a binder. It's about this thick. And on every page, in very small handwriting, there were all of these formulas. How are you, with the music above it? How are you? And then a tree of appropriate answers from which I could pick, which was different than how are you, which was a tree, which was different from how are you? And then that was all, and okay, and so this, and then I memorized it. All of this is memorized behavior, because you and I both know I go stone up autistic and there's not this.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, okay, so I used what I learned in that binder in 1968 on myself and negotiate what it's going to take for each being inside me to be happy and feel like they are contributing. And that's going to be an ongoing thing until I meet my maker. And I have not succeeded fully. I have succeeded more than most.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Julie Woods and God, Spirit, Universe, Divine Mystery. Tell me about, in the midst of all of this, how you bring spirit into what it is that you do and where that sits for you. Like, what is that for you?
I really need to acknowledge how juicy your questions are and how much I love you and how much I love how your soul and your brain and your heart work together. Ariana Platten.
Thank you.
The simple, almost up to the edge of simplistic answer is the street is a temple and the temple is a street. I made a deal with God and then I stopped talking to God. So then I made a deal with Spirit. Turns out to be the same thing. And the deal was this. I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of gifts. More than 20 people I know. So put people in front of me who need me. They don't need somebody else. I want to be that last thing between them and dead. And then I will take care of them and get them on their feet. You do enough of that, and first of all, if it keeps happening, somebody's sending them. And then if you have enough miracles happen in your life, then you figure somebody's helping orchestrate that. It's just a logic thing. God and Spirit are a logic thing for me. Now, I know some people will say, oh, well, it's just some sort of string quantum jelly theory of some compendium of some mess. Okay, and that's great. And they can think that, and it's probably true, because, you know, this is the all and everything. And there's just too much evidence of Spirit / God making sure that my crazy ass stays on the planet. Okay, I told people straight up during my concerts, my angels get hazard pay. Okay, that's real. Okay, been blind, been paralyzed from the waist down twice, blown off a 30-foot cliff. I have no concept of how many dozens upon dozens of times I have almost either been killed or died. Okay. And that is spirit saying, you got something to do. We need you not dead to do it. Wow, you went right up to the not dead thing. Whoa. Okay. And then there's external evidence, because I'm a real evidence freak, because I'm a scientist. Okay. Ultimately, I'm a logician. So when I'm, laying on the floor, this woman was very condescending about, I could call my little guides, and she was going to call her guides into the room, and she was going to heal me. And then she's leaning down. I heard a little something. And then she looked up and all the blood drained out of her face, and she ducked down like this. And she said, I'm so sorry. I need to do something. And ran in the kitchen in the middle of my session, frantically calls a friend, says, friend's coming over. Do you mind? I said, no, not at all. So I hear this screeching car. The door throws open. This woman runs in. She gets to the front door and she goes, oh my. And then she ducks down. The woman tells me, there were so many angels in this room. There was no room for us to stand up. Why didn't you tell us? I said, you said my little guides. So Jesus and Archangel Mike, and Gabe, Archangel Gabriel and I are friends. And so you told me to call my friends in. I called my friends in. And so they pick who comes. So you get things like that. Why would I not believe in God and spirit? It's kind of, there's somebody somewhere who doesn't believe in bacon, did not stop me from eating half a pound of it last Sunday. Okay? So people cannot believe what they want about what they want. It doesn't make it not real. It makes them not believing and possibly blind. Not my thing. I got stuff to do.
You said bacon.
Oh, I said bacon.
You said bacon.
I did say bacon.
Going thing with Julie and I. Like, now we have to have bacon together.
But now we have to have bacon together. If you go to Planet Bacon on Facebook, that's my page. Okay? Ariane and I break bacon together. Okay? So.
That's right. Honey, we're coming to the end of the first hour, and I want to answer. We've got some questions.
Cool.
And I want to make sure that we get to them. Jim and Peg said, do you have beings of different races, genders, orientations, and other potential differences, polarities within you? We talked about some of that, right?
Absolutely. And also I see Juju sees her name, so she has to say hi, Linda. All right, so Linda, she says hi. Okay, good.
So also, Heather said, I have composed, this is your quote, I have composed my nightmares composted my nightmares for the world's why can I not read today? For the world's nourishment. Pat Walla asked, how old were you when you discovered you had 24 beings, and did you find them all at the same time? And Pat came in a little later, so she didn't hear that. Could you rerun that for her?
Absolutely. So Juju was the first one to come out in 1981. Within a matter of a couple weeks, I realized that there were 8 other beings that were not me. I could tell the difference between me being crazy because I was coming out of a nervous breakdown and had cataloged my craziness, and these being completely separate beings in my body. Now, it turns out, and I didn't say this earlier, most multiples, and I say multiples not, what do they try and call us now? Dissociated identity disorder, some mess like that. Okay, yeah, no. Most of us are genius infants who were raped before we were a year old. That's why we have 98, 99% of us have a baby as one of the personalities that, and all the others will be different. We all have a baby that's either asleep or in a coma because of the trauma of splitting. I have added to that womb memories. So I have been allowed to remember when all 24 beings came in, and then over time got to the point where they surfaced, when Juju surfaced in 1981. So I was 8, between 81 and 2000. And then I found safety. Ooh, what happened that you became unshakably self-confident instead of living as a victim? Oh, I so want to answer that one. All right. Let me say this. So in 2000, I found safety. And I found safety in a tribe that Ariana was a part of. Ariana was part of that safety. And so all of a sudden, over the course of a year, I split, and I had support in doing that in a way that was safe. So that's the answer to that. I am privileged and grateful on knees for the beloveds that have stepped up and at times fought for my sanity so that all of us inside me could collaborate and contribute to the world. Does that answer that question, Pat?
Great answer. You want to answer Anne's question?
Oh, I so want to answer Anne's question. But first, I want to tell Anne that I'm drooling over answering this. Okay, here's the thing. I am not unshakably self-confident, my lady. What I am is a package that is so rehearsed that it is natural. Because inside of this, I'm a pathologically shy, primarily 8-year-old autistic savant who doesn't like to human.
And that's
Except here's the thing. There's a world out there that needs me, and my love for helping the world get better because I can is greater than my fear. And that comes out of this. I shall be free when the fullness of the experience is greater than the security of my armor. My dedication to the world being better for everyone is bigger than my shy or my fear. And it's just that. Victimhood doesn't save people's lives, and it doesn't get people fed. So I get up, and I have 170 things that I do every single morning of my life so that I do not have to be on medication. The first of which is to choose my beloved partner, who is just absolutely amazing and I adore, so that I have a good reason to pull forward and make the world better for everyone. Here's what's real. My experience is those children stoned me to try and kill me and left me like a dog in the street to die. No one came when I screamed. And so, no one left on the ground, no one left in the dark, no one left in the cold, no one left behind. Not on my watch. And that's what pulls me forward. That's what pulls all 24 of us forward past any disagreements that we have with each other, anything that we do that we think we would want to have happen that would jeopardize this being able to make a difference. There is nothing more important than loving the entire world into its greatness 24/7 until I meet my maker. There is nothing more important than that.
Yeah. And there, what you said is, that is the person I know. That is the beloved that I have shared 20 years with. That person who is always making the world better somehow, and always intent upon making the world better somehow, and fierce in that. And it's sometimes really intimidatingly fierce in that. Yeah. And also incredibly tender and gentle and kind and caring and available, emotionally available, and authentic in whatever face I see. Authentic in whatever face I see. So I am incredibly grateful for your time, Julie. And we just got one more question, and I want to answer that, and then that'll be our last question for tonight. Would you go ahead and read it?
It says, I mean no disrespect by this question, which is a lovely way to open that up. Thank you. Have you found that you were able to have some personalities come out or more powerful with mind-altering drugs such as mushrooms, ayahuasca, or MMJ, or does it help? The answer is yes. I very often will work with the teachers of marijuana, and then I will go for months or years without. I have never done ayahuasca because the grandmother medicines of ayahuasca have said, you don't need us. Um, I've never done LSD. I have tried multiple times, and every time I do, some priest or priestess pops up out of the ground and takes it instead of me, quite literally. And so it's been made very clear I am not supposed to do LSD until such time as I am, and I don't know that I ever will. I have done rooming, which is where I got to go sit and have coffee and cookies with God, and that helped. That helped me not kill myself. In general, I want to say this really nicely because I've done a really good job of not cussing except for one word this whole time. And
I
I'm not going to cuss now. Okay. I'm not going to cuss now. I am going to say that I am bat feces nuts, and that I don't need drugs. They support me in practicing as training wheels for the thing that I am always committed to doing without assistance. So I believe in the power of the support from our beloved physicalized spiritual teachers, and there's no addiction there when it is a sacred act where you are training for being able to do it with whatever you do without them, which is what I do. I'm a shaman, and that's the best way for me to train.
And you talked a little bit earlier about working across dimensions, and I think that a lot of those things that were mentioned are dimensional portal openers.
They are, absolutely. That's exactly what they are.
Working across dimensions, a lot of times that's what people experience, is that moving beyond this dimension into another dimension. And since you are already doing that, I can't even imagine you going into more dimensions, Julie. I have enough trouble keeping up with the dimensions you're in right now, okay? You are a beloved friend. Thank you for making this time. Thank you for being with us and for sharing your heart so, as you do, so genuinely. I know that what you said is true. I know that this is not the easiest thing for you, and that you are practiced at it, and that you have worked a lifetime to be able to share your story, and to not be afraid. It's only been, so that the rest of you know, only a few years that Julie has been actively sharing this story. This has been her private life for a very long time. She's just been running around the planet singing with Roberta Flack and doing other things, and not really talking about what goes on inside of her. And I watched the first couple of interviews. I know the struggle that you went through to be able to bring to the forefront more information about who you are and what you do. And I just love you dearly as my sweet friend. And I value and admire you for the human being that you are, and the many beings that you are, and the good work that you do in the world. So I just want to say thank you for being
Thank you.
here, and we'll do this.
I need to say something about you, and you need to let me.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're getting better at it. I could not be this if there weren't people like you who look at me and say, you're, yes, you are crazy and you're wonderful and I love you. There could be no me without folks like you who say yes to our existence. Yes, I will be with you. Yes, I will protect you. Yes, when I need to guide you, I will guide you. Yes, I will listen to you and let you guide me. So I want to thank you and all the folks like you out there, some of whom are on this call. I'd like to thank you for showing up and showing us that we are normal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The best kind of normal.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you too. And you guys, if you want to say something nice about me on Facebook, you can, please, because then it will help other people get brave about talking about themselves. And then it really will be normal for everybody. Okay, so let's talk about this because they can't silence us when all of us are talking.
Thanks, Julie.